Hey, you guys. I wanted to, I wanted to do basically a haul video on some books that I got yesterday. But at the same time, I started thinking that it might be kind of cool to just kind of talk about, you know, using, um, what I look for basically when I'm looking at books to use in my junk journals, or to use for a junk journal. And so this is going to be kind of a combination of the two, okay? Most of the books that I'm going to show you, I picked up yesterday at a couple different places, but some I actually got, you know, in weeks past. But I wanted to pull them out and just kind of talk to you guys about them and you know, because I got them for different reasons. And I thought it would be kind of cool for people who are just kind of getting into junk journaling, to sort of get a feel for like what I look for in used books. Okay. So let me just start out by saying that, um, I will not pay a lot of money for vintage books, um, for a couple of reasons. First of all, because, I'm tearing them apart usually, and I feel like, why would I spend a bunch of money on a book that I'm just going to tear apart, even though I do sell them. All that's going to do is increase the cost of my finished journals. So, I try not to spend more than a couple dollars on a book. That being said, usually I don't pay more than $1, but there are some exceptions. So, free is always good. um, and actually, yesterday I went to a used bookstore that's pretty close to my house, and because, well, there's a Joann's there, and for some reason, like when I get in my car, it just like goes to Joann's. I mean, it just happens. Anywho, so I had managed to wrestle my car into the parking space that was in front of the used bookstore instead of in front of Joann's, thankfully. So, and I don't care how many, coupons they send me. I'm not going in there unless I absolutely need something. I'm just saying. Um, anyway, so this used bookstore has a little cart right out front. They have like two doors that you have to go in to like get into their store. It's like a strip mall. Anyway, so right inside the first door, they have a cart now, which they didn't have before, but they have this little cart that's free books. So I actually picked up, um, a few. I think there's another one, but I can't remember which one it was. Anyways, so um, I'm obviously looking for vintage books. I'm looking for older books. Um, so I sort of, scan the shelves for something that looks like that. You know what I mean? Um, and whenever I see it, I pull it out and just kind of flip through. Um, so this is a shorthand manual. So, um, and I probably would have paid for this, but it was free, so that was even better. But one thing I want to say about the shorthand books is that, and you'll see them, they're around. This is like from the 40s, I think, maybe 50s. Um, but one thing that's really cool about shorthand textbooks or handbooks or whatever is that, when you use these pages in your journals, as book pages, um, people can still write on this. I mean, you can just, write right over the top of it, and people can still read it. You know what I mean? I mean, you can still read that. So I know you can still see the shorthand behind it, but if I'm just making a grocery list on here or something, I could still read it. I would obviously, use like a more bold point pen. This is pretty fine. So anywho, you get the idea. They're kind of almost blank in a way. So that's one thing I like about them, about the shorthand books. I also, look at the size of a book to see if, you know, this is a book that I can use as a journal cover, you know, and like the condition of the spine, you know, even if it's really bad, that's okay because you can rebuild the spine, even if it's too like narrow or, you know, not thick enough, you can rebuild the spine and make it thicker. But if you want to just use it as is and you don't really know how to rebuild the spine or don't want to bother rebuilding the spine, then pay attention to the thickness of the book, because that's going to be the ultimate size of your journal. You know, this is a good size. This is almost the size of like a Reader's Digest, you know. So anyway, so I got this, the shorthand manual, and then I got this Sunset Herb book off of that cart because I've been doing a lot more stuff with like gardening type themes and flowers and things like that. And I just really liked these little descriptions of all the different herbs, because I thought they would be really cool to, you know, tear these apart and make journaling cards with them. You know, and I could like coffee dye these or whatever. And I love all of the little just line drawings and stuff. So, so I liked that about this. And you know what? It's destined for the trash. So why not, you know, give it a second life, you know? And then this one is A History of Europe, a journey with pictures, it says. So, you know, I didn't really think that I could use this book as a journal necessarily because it's a little bit large. You know, the cover is a little large. But that doesn't mean I couldn't use the chipboard that this is made out of. You know what I mean? My rotary cutter will cut this into pieces to use for tiles or whatever. So anyway, but I wanted this one because, well, it's all black and white illustrations, and there's lots of them. There's tons of them in this book. I mean, it's just, that's all it is. It's just drawing, or just pictures, you know. And I thought that was rad because, you know what, I could make my own postcards and stuff or whatever. I mean, I could, you know, like a travel themed journal or something. This is awesome, you know. And it's really nice quality paper. The paper is, you know, relatively thick. It's and it's in great shape, you know. So I thought that was a score, honestly. And then I couldn't resist this when Porcupine moved in, this children's book. I don't usually make like children's themed journals or anything like that, but I pick them up anyways because you never know. I mean, it could happen, you know. I definitely have enough materials to make some children's journal themed journals or childhood themed journals. But I also really loved this illustration of the mushroom, and I thought this would be great for like a woodland kind of, you know, feeling or something. Anyways, and I just thought they were really neat pictures. So, and it was free, you know, and like I said, destined for the garbage. So I wanted to have it. So I'm just going to toss these behind me as we go. So anyway, so these are actually, so the, okay, let me get organized here. Reader's Digest. So I have a whole bunch of them. Okay, like I have tons of them because there's this one thrift store that I go to where you could buy a whole box of books for $5. Not just a little box, like I'm talking about like a big giant box for $5. A lot of times I'll find like a whole encyclopedia set for $5, you know. I don't necessarily need a whole set of encyclopedias from 1954, but you know what? Sometimes they have really cool covers or whatever. So anyways, but we like Reader's Digest because, first of all, they have really cool like patterns on the covers, you know, and they're just great. Like they're just really neat to like distress them or just leave them alone, you know. They're interesting. They're neutral usually. Um, the color schemes and stuff. The spines are usually in really good shape because nobody ever read these. You know, nobody ever read them. They just got them and I don't know, they just put them on their shelf or something. I mean, seriously, they're like the spines are hardly ever even cracked. So, plus it's a good size book paper to do a lot with, and you definitely get a lot of it in a Reader's Digest. They're just really useful, sometimes they even have cool illustrations in them. So, like that's kind of cute, you know what I mean? Um, yeah, that's a lot of the reason why people use Reader's Digest is because of the size. Generally, when I make a journal out of a Reader's Digest, I'm gonna make it 3 signatures. Just works out that way. Um, and these are very, very conducive to making a relatively fat journal, um, and making it a nice size, dimensionally. Okay. So some Reader's Digests. These I had picked up at that store before, so I just wanted to kind of talk about Reader's Digest books for a second, and just basically anybody who's just getting into junk journaling, I want this to be kind of helpful for those people too. So, and usually you can find those pretty cheap. So then, let's see. So some other books that I thought would be good to use as journal covers. Let's see, there's a few of them here. Okay. So this one is I try to pay attention to, the title of the book and stuff like that. Because I generally don't like altering the covers a lot if I don't have to. I like to kind of preserve that part of the integrity of this book. I mean, I like for it to look natural. And this is just beautiful. I love the way this book is just aged enough. It's just been kicked around enough that it looks loved and yummy. A lot of these old vintage books, they'll have embossing on the covers. This is a linen cover. Like it's actually fabric on the cover of this book, and it's durable. The corners are still in good shape, and I wouldn't even bother putting book corners on this. I would just leave them just the way they are. Um, Maybe for decoration or something, but they just, I don't know, it just looks soft, and it makes you want to touch it and feel it. You know what I mean? So, and plus the color is really pretty. I may even distress this just a little bit more just to make it look a little bit more loved and worn. So the inside of this book is pretty trashed. I'm not sure what happened here, but somebody obviously ripped some pages out of it at some point. I didn't do it because it's at like page 11, so somebody must have wanted like the pictures out of the front or something. Who knows? But this is that paper that's kind of got a little bit of a sheen to it. See? And it's heavy. This book paper is really heavy. So and I just love that. It just feels really, really cool. Plus the text, like that they used, the fonts are just, I don't know, they're just neat. There was some really cool illustrations in here too. So I'm just carrying on about this book, but I loved it and I thought it would be really, really cool to make into a little junk journal. So this one is another one of those children's books that, I got because, well, it was there and I like the paper and I like the, what do they call, monochrome images where it's just one color. I think those are really cool, and just the images will be neat to use for tags or for that junk journal that is children's children themed that I haven't made yet. Like, wouldn't that be cool to use like in a woodland theme kind of journal or something? Anyway, so I bought this for $1 in the bargain. No, you know what? This is the other one that was free. This is the other book that was free on that cart. So I got this one for free. But I thought this would be a really neat journal cover too. Kind of for the same reason as the one that I just showed you. You know, just the way it feels, the, you know, the shape that it's in really good condition. And also the signatures are not glued in. You know what I mean? Like it'll be easy to take the book block out of this book because it's not glued into the spine. So that's another thing that I always look for. This one I thought this would make a cool journal cover, you know. Why not? You know, it's an awesome size. You know what I mean? And it doesn't necessarily have to be, I mean, let's face it, like it's mostly women that are into junk journals, right? But the themes and the subject matter doesn't have to be girly at all. I mean, it's just a book, you know, it's just a place to store memories and thoughts and items and ephemera and stuff, right? So I thought this would be a really pretty little journal. And anyway, so I got it. I picked this up at a thrift store a couple months ago, but also I really love the illustrations in here, and I like the way that it's laid out. The text and stuff is really cool. I like things like this, like little charts and tables and graphs and you know, pie charts and lists of things and numbered lists and stuff. So plus I really like this paper. This is, again, this is that like kind of glossy like shiny paper. So, and it's a really heavy book. This book is super heavy. I don't know when it was published, but even just that is just super cool. Let's see, 1938. Most recent printing 1941. So, yep, I love books from the 40s. All right, so this one I got just for the cover because I thought this would just be a gorgeous journal cover. It's just sturdy enough to be a great journal. You know what I mean? It's a little bit floppy, like the spine is a little bit floppy, you know, but that's okay because I'll reinforce that. But I love just the discoloration and that kind of thing. It's just yummy. The paper in this book is amazing. Like, look at how it's just discolored and pretty, you know. And it also has a lot of really cool, like, little maps and things like that in it. But I got it just because I like the cover, you know, and the title of the book, The Outline of History by H.G. Wells. So I just think that's interesting, you know what I mean? This one I thought would be a good junk journal cover with a little bit of embellishment maybe, just because the staining right here is, you know, it's kind of but I like the title of it, Chemistry for Nurses. I thought this would be really cool to put in my shop once I make it into a journal. Who knows, maybe a nurse will buy it, you know what I mean? Something like that. This is a little bit narrow, so if I do wind up using this as a journal cover, I will most likely cut the spine out and rebuild it with something else, with canvas or something. So anyway, but this book has amazing like content. Okay, look at the chart, and it's got all these notes and stuff in it, and really neat pictures. Like this is just stuff that you won't see in anything else, right? I mean, it's just, I don't know, like it's just interesting to me, you know. Oh, look at here's some of her notes. Huh. So I just thought this was a neat book. And again, the paper just super like pretty and glossy, and it's durable, you know, and heavy. Like I love the weight of the paper. So anyways, there's that one. This book is warped just a little bit. You can see that it's a little bit warped, but that's okay. I can wrestle it back into shape. So this book I thought would be awesome to use for a journal cover. You know, I'm not scared that it's so fat and thick. I mean, it would probably be 5 or 6 signatures. I think that's cool, you know. And somebody would probably love to have a journal that's that thick, you know. This size of the book is great. Like, it's perfect. This would be great for somebody to keep on their desk as a journal for their desk. I would have to be extremely aware of what I was putting in here, of the thickness of everything that I was using, being that it would need to have so many signatures. If you wanted to go for it and try to make a journal out of a book like this size, just be careful about, you know, the thickness of your embellishments, really, because it could wind up being like this, you know, like it could wind up like literally like that, and then nobody would want it, I don't think. Anyway, so if I do that, I'll have to be really aware of that. And one good way to kind of combat that is to start your embellishing in the center of the book and then work your way back and forth, and try to put some embellishments in the inside and some on the outside. Inside, outside. Okay, like so that you don't just have all of your embellishments on the outside, because your book is going to wind up getting super fat super fast. If you put some on the inner part of the book, then they can kind of like sandwich together and like stack up a little bit better. Anyway, so this is the Encyclopedia of Organic Gardening, and I mean, the paper in it is pretty heavy, and it's in really good shape. I love the little tabs. I like those pages. I think those are cool. These would be neat to just, you know, cut out a certain column and, you know, use like this thing on germination. You know, that would be neat to use in a gardening journal, on a tag. You know what I mean? So lots of good information in here for a gardener. That's still valid, you know, now, even though this book was published in, let's see, 1959. So, yeah, second printing, 1959. Anyway, so this is a cool book. I love it. And I got that for $1 at that bookstore that I talked about. So here's another one that is kind of the same story, about like a thick book, you know. And this has been really fun to look through because I live in Washington, and this is like all those ordinances and stuff that people say, did you know that it's against the law to breastfeed your baby in public in Washington State? And I go, yeah, I knew that because I got told about it one time. But anyways, this book has like all of that stuff in it. And so you can see a lot of that stuff. And it's that type of paper that's like really super thin, because there's like tons of information in here. It's really, really, really thin, but this is great for decoupage, okay? Because then it becomes sort of like transparent too. And I just think it would be neat to like pay attention to what the ordinance is, or the law, or whatever is, and kind of like match that up to like the subject matter on the page or whatever. Anyways, but this also has a whole section where they repealed all of these, and there's these little stickers next to each one. It's like this whole section, and they put this little sticker on each one. So, but this again, you know, thick book. Oh, there's even more. See, there's more little stickers on here. And I love those little stickers. Anyway, I wish I had a book of those little stickers. Oh, and then they added pages to this book. you know, when they made like amendments or changes or whatever, they added pages to it. See, they just like glued them in. It tells you where to insert them. So anyway, but this would be a fat journal. But again, you know, same story as the gardening one. It could work, you know, for the right person. And the spine is in really good shape. I mean, this book is really well made, you know. This would be kind of fun to use as a journal cover. I think I might actually do that here pretty soon. But and I like the way that this book has been distressed over time, and you know, I'd probably just give it a once over with a baby wipe, and you know, maybe wax it just a little bit. I don't mean with the iron and beeswax and stuff, but like a polished type of wax, just to kind of soften it a little bit. Maybe treat it with a little bit of Inca Gold or something, or even ink it a little bit, just to kind of give it a little bit more, um, like to even out the tone of the cover a little bit. See how it's kind of scuffed up here, but it's not right here. I don't know, but I just thought it was pretty cool, and so I picked it up. So, there's a couple other books that I got mainly, well, this one I got because I love the cover, you know. I just thought that was just beautiful. I have an order for a book that I'm gonna get started on here pretty soon, and I'm considering using this book as an option. So, but this is like a, you know, just an old encyclopedia. It's just one. Let's see what year, 1943. So I don't even remember where I got this from, but you know, it's cool because it has a lot of color illustrations in it. So look at that. Isn't that just adorable? Look, look. I just love it. I never even saw that before. But this has a lot of color in it. So I thought that was pretty neat. I wish they would have had more of them wherever I got this from. I wish they would have had more. So I'm going to be disassembling this book here pretty soon and using a lot of these images. So anyway, I wish I could get the rest of these because those are nice. This book, this organic chemistry book, I think I did show this in a previous video. I got this for $1 at a different thrift store. And mostly I got it. I mean, I could use this cover as a journal cover. The spine, you know, I don't know. Like, it's iffy. I would have to see how it stands up after I take the book apart. But it's a textbook. You know, textbooks are usually pretty well made. So, but this one has a bunch of like highlighter and stuff in it, which I don't necessarily like that. That's kind of like a modern type feeling to me, and I don't really like that. But a lot of the pages don't have highlighter. And I just like the formulas and stuff. Like, plus the feel of this paper is so freaking soft, you guys. It's like, it's just yummy. Like, I could sleep on it. Seriously. Anybody who loves books and loves paper and loves this kind of thing, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But this paper is like, it's like rabbit fur or something. You know what I mean? Like, it's so friggin' soft. You can't even hardly feel it, you know? Anyway, so I love this book. And this was probably expensive. This is a chemistry book, you know? Anyways, I got it for $1. So I got this mostly for the book paper. Got quite a stack over here. Same with this one, this Latin book. Again, it's a textbook. I got this mainly for the paper because of the illustrations and the notes that are in the book. Just, you know, oh my gosh, I didn't even see that before. I love that map. But this has lots and lots of notes in the margins, you know, and that stuff is just neat to include in a junk journal, I think, in a vintage style junk journal especially. So Anyway, I love this one. And then this is one of those garden flowers in color that I bought off of eBay. Um, I paid $10 for this book. This is like an exceptional exception to what I will normally spend. But this book is absolutely beautiful. Like, this is the fourth or fifth copy of this book that I've purchased. But it's just amazingly beautiful. Like, I love the pictures in here. Um, I don't know if you can see very well. I'm trying to tip it just the right way so you can see what I mean, but the way that this is printed, it's like that you can see the ink sitting on the surface of the paper. It's like matte almost where the ink is, and then where it's not, it's glossy. It's just really interesting. You can feel the ink with your finger. So, but I've disassembled a few copies of this book already. Um, Not first editions or anything like that. I don't know when this was originally published. I think it was sometime in the 30s, but unusual for it to be in full color like this. So, like every page in color. It was just really expensive to print a book that way. So I'm really glad that they did, though, because it just has beautiful pictures, and they look awesome on tags. See? I've used a lot of those images, and yeah, that's kind of similar. I kind of like hoard them almost, the pictures. Anyway, so that one I got mainly for the pictures. But you know what? It is kind of cool. Like, it's a linen cover, and it would be pretty neat maybe to rebuild the spine and make it a little bit thicker and make a journal out of this. It could happen. All right. So, like I said, I don't normally like make children's themed journals or anything. But I know that these little golden books are getting pretty popular, and I just thought, I'm gonna just get some of them just in case I decide I want to at some point. And plus, I have a really good friend that she does make children's journals, and so I always have something to give her if I want to. Anyway, so I have probably a dozen or so little golden books, and so a lot of people are using these to make junk journals. And basically what they're doing is they're separating this part of the spine. See how it's like, how it kind of sticks out, right? So you can separate that, and there's like a staple that you can pull, like I think 2 staples. And it basically expands that, and it makes the book about that thick, right? And people are making junk journals out of these. And keeping the pages intact, and even keeping them in the book, like restitching them into the book. And it's kind of cool. It's neat because it's giving these old children's books a new sort of form, and a new function, and a new life, and maintaining the integrity of the story, and all of that, and the illustrations, and the art that is in these little books. So, and I think it's really cool. Plus, they're a neat size when they're finished. When someone makes it into a journal, it's a cool size. It's different, almost square, but not quite. So little golden books are great for junk journals. Another book that I got mostly just for the imagery. This one I picked up at the bookstore yesterday for $1 in the bargain, book room. Just amazing, amazing illustrations of animals. Just beautiful, drawings. So I couldn't not get this. You know what I mean? I had to get it. Because I am gonna do. Look at the way they did the name of the animal. See that? See that font? Isn't that cool? I just love it. Anyway, you know what's in here is I probably can't find it right away because I don't remember what the actual name is, but Tasmanian tiger is in this book. Because at the time they weren't extinct, which I think is interesting. Yeah, I wish I could find it like quickly, but I don't remember what its actual name is. Anyway, so I got this one because it has 82 full color prints, and it's in really good shape. Like, I mean, each page in this book is just in amazing condition. You know, this just sat on someone's shelf for years and years and years. This was published in 1968. But I think the original entire contents copyright 1968. I thought it was earlier than that. Oh, it's a different book I'm thinking of. But yeah, so this one's 1968. And this one is not the one with the Tasmanian tiger in it. I lied. It's a different one, but I'll show you. So this one was also in the bargain room at the bookstore. And look at this. This is cool. This is a book about, it's a bridge book, basically, like how to play bridge. Look at that guy. This is going to be the coolest journal cover. Oh my god. Anyway, look at the back. I just love this box. Anyway, so the name of the book is The Sports Illustrated Book of Bridge. So, but it has really, really cool pages. Look at it. It's all these bridge hands, you know. And if you've ever played bridge, you would understand this. And I have played bridge. I mean, if you've ever played bridge and like really got into it, you would understand it. I've played and I get it a little bit, but you know, I couldn't like read this and like really understand what the hell's going on. Anyway, so I got this because of the book pages. I think these will be really neat to use in some journals because I use these bridge score sheets all the time, you know, in my journals, and you know, like the tally cards and stuff. So I thought it would be neat to include some pages out of a bridge book. I'm gonna drink my cold coffee. All right, so that one was $1, but it was worth it just for that. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was a cool find. And then art history books are really, really, really cool to use for junk journals. These are, I don't know, this was probably a, you know, close to $100 textbook when someone was in college studying art history. But you know, they just have amazing reproductions, and you know, that's all I can say really. They just are full of amazing pictures, and there's like sections that are in color, you know. So these are just gorgeous. Obviously, you know, this book is a little bit too large to use as a journal, but I could definitely use a lot of these pictures. And the paper is oversized, so I think, you know, that's a plus. it just makes the paper more useful, you know what I mean? Could make envelopes out of those, or just into book pages or whatever. So art history books, if you see one, pick it up, because I have another one that's I've gone through like 4 or 5 art history textbooks that I've, torn apart, but I have another one that's a children's art, an art history book for children, and it's kind of interesting. So yeah, so lots of good images in art history books. This was $1 in the bargain book section. And then this one I thought was, I don't know, I just thought it was cool, mainly because of the pictures, or the illustrations, like, how to make curtains, basically. Oh, and slip covers. So, I mean, just look at these illustrations. They're just cool, So, because I like to go kind of random, I guess, in my journals. I don't like stick to a theme generally. So I think it's kind of fun to just jump around and, make people like wonder, why is that in this book, or where did that page come from, or whatever. I just like to have things kind of contradict each other, like subject matter and stuff, in my journals. So, I thought this would be kind of fun to add a page, next to the airplane maintenance book pages. Anyway. And then this one, I couldn't pass this one up either. The Picture Cookbook. Come on. And this was published, like, I mean, just the inside, cover is just gorgeous. But this book is huge. I mean, it's a big, big book. 1958. So, and the way that they just made food look was just, I don't know, it was just different. Like, the color was different or something. I don't know. But I had to get this because I just love these pictures. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. See what I'm talking about? It's like the color is like off a little bit or something, or I don't know. Maybe they just used like some kind of soft focus filter or something, and they just made it look, maybe they were trying to make it look more realistic or something, but it just looks weird. Anyway, but look at that. I mean, come on. Does that look like bizarre or what? Anyway, so yeah, I just thought this was a neat book, and it was $1. But mostly I love these pages with the recipes, because of these like graphics and stuff. I just think these will be really pretty to use in journals. So I love this. Anyway, all right, so that one, and then I just have like, I don't know, a few more. Okay, so this one was also $1, and I have not got, I have like 7 or 8 of these books with the 5-ring, no, notebooks. And one of these days, I'm probably going to make a journal in one of them. I just haven't gotten around to it. But these are awesome because there's a lot of usable, paper and stuff in these. And even if I just use the dividers as tags and stuff, I think it was worth $1, because that's what I might wind up doing. A lot of the paper that's in these is kind of brittle, and it doesn't respond well to folding, although this one is actually doing pretty good. But yeah, so these are great because they have just tons of really cool illustrations and stuff like that. So I actually have two of these. This one is, I think this one was 1970. Yeah, this one's 1970. The other one I have is 1963, so it's a lot older. But yeah, these are cool. This one is warped just a tiny bit. The front of the cover is warped a tiny bit. So, you know, I don't know, but these are pretty cool to make into a journal. If you have a 5-ring punch. Otherwise, you can use a 3-ring punch, I think, and then, you know, I'm not sure. I'm not really sure, but it just seems like a lot of punching to me. And a lot of reinforcement, you know, stickers. This is the one that has the Tasmanian tiger in it. But, yeah, when was this published? 1948. Okay. So yeah, this one has the Tasmanian tiger in it. And, but this one was really cool, I thought, because each page is like, you know, a description of all of these animals, you know, just really, really beautiful drawings of all of these animals. And interesting information too, you know. I'm into nature and stuff. And I think there's a lot of animals in this book that are actually extinct, you know, like the Tasmanian tiger, you know. But anyways, yeah, I thought this was a really cool book to use for junk journal. Nature type theme or whatever. I could use this cover. It needs a little bit of cleaning, but just because it's kind of an interesting shape, you know, I could get into it. I might actually make it a little bit thicker if I decide to do that, but you know, I could see like painting this and then sanding it down, gesso maybe, sand it down, stain it, distress it, beat it up, drag it behind the car, you know, or something. Um, but yeah, I thought this was a pretty cool book. And then this little one, I got from the bargain book room too, and for $1. And I just thought it would be a really cute little journal. Probably just the size that it is. It would need a little bit of reinforcement on the spine, but you know, that's easy enough. But I love the size of the pages, like, and the weight of the paper is really thick. This page is like coming out right now. Yeah. So it's really heavy paper. And this will be great to use just as a page in a journal, just like that, you know. Anyway, neat little book. I got the Grey's Anatomy book. This is not an old book necessarily, but this just has great illustrations in it. For junk journals, I just think they're way cool, you know. Especially for like some kind of like steampunk style or something, you know. I think it would be pretty cool, and there's a lot of pages in here. Yeah, and some color, you know, just kind of cool to have on hand. And I've just actually torn some pages out of here and used them. Okay, 2 more, and then I'm done. So I got the set. There's actually 4 books in this set. This illustrated library of the natural sciences. Okay, so but I got these because the covers are just awesome. Like they're like you know, linen. Okay, they're in perfect shape. Like, oh my god, that they're just in amazing shape. And inside they just have really neat like diagrams and really cool photos and stuff. Like, see, there's a lot of like drawings in here too. Um, not just photographs, but really, really cool drawings, you know, like that. Um, anyway, so, and this is on that really, really, really yummy soft paper too. These 4 books. I got these for $1, all 4 of them for $1 at a thrift store. Okay, and I lied when I said 2 more because it's actually like 2 plus, you know, 3 or 4 more, but those kind of count as 1, and this kind of counts as 1. But anyways, so these are some more children's books, but I thought, you know, again, they have some really cool images in them. Really neat paper, you know, it's a neat weight of paper. I love that blue. This whole book is printed in blue. All of the text is in blue. So anyway, that one, I don't know how old this one is, but 1958. So, and then The Singing Leaf is just, this is such a cool book. Oh my God. The colors in this book are just outrageous. 1965. Look at the lime green. You guys can't even see probably. But look at these. Isn't that cool? Pedro. This is Pedro. Anyway. So really cute, like old children's books, you know. And super fun. So all right. So that's basically my book haul and like, you know, what to look for in, you know, used books when thinking about junk journals. You know, size is really important, but like subject matter too. Like if you know you can find something that you know you can use the cover and the pages for something and for a whole bunch of other journals or whatever, that makes it even more cool. So anyways, I hope this was, you know, interesting, if not, you know, somewhat helpful. um, I will look at making another video where I'm actually rebuilding a spine on a book where I wasn't able to salvage it or where I wanted to change the spine. Um, and you know make it either larger or smaller or whatever. So I will look at doing some kind of a video talking about that here pretty soon. So anyway, give the video a thumbs up if you didn't find it too like long or whatever. I mean, you know, I like long videos, so whatever. But yeah, give me a thumbs up, and then if you haven't subscribed to my channel, make sure you do that because, you know, eventually I'm going to put out some really cool videos that I think you'll probably like, even more than this one. Anyway, and then check out my Etsy shop because I do have a whole bunch of junk journals for sale in there, and there's bound to be something that you might like. Anyway, well, thanks for watching, you guys. Take care. Love you. Bye.